Welcome to the channel The Coin Hunter, and let me ask you something that might sound absolutely crazy at first. What if the change rattling around in your pocket right now, the coins you absent-mindedly toss into jars or hand over at the grocery store, could actually be worth millions of dollars? I'm not talking about ancient treasure or gold bars hidden in a vault somewhere. I'm talking about an ordinary-looking penny, something you've probably handled 1,000 times without giving a second thought. A coin so common that it seems impossible it could hold the key to unimaginable wealth. But here's the truth. There's a 1997 D. Lincoln penny out there, minted in Denver, that collectors are willing to pay up to $17 million for. And before you think this is some kind of fairy tale or internet myth, let me tell you exactly why this particular coin has become one of the most sought-after treasures in the entire numismatic world. Yes, you heard that right. $17 million for a penny, and the story behind this coin is so fascinating, so filled with mystery and incredible twists of fate, that once you hear it, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. Now, I know what you're thinking. How could a penny from 1997, a year that's not even that long ago, be worth more than most people will earn in 10 lifetimes? And here's where things get really interesting, because this isn't just any regular penny that rolled off the production line and into circulation like billions of others. Oh no, this is a coin with a secret, a minting error so rare and so spectacular that when it was first discovered, even the most experienced coin experts couldn't believe their eyes. But before we dive deep into what makes this penny worth a fortune, I want you to stick around until the very end of this video, because after I reveal everything about this 1997 D-Miracle, I'm going to tell you about 3 more Lincoln pennies that are even more valuable, including one that sold for an absolutely mind-blowing amount that'll make 17 million look like pocket change. And who knows, maybe one of these coins is hiding in your collection right now, just waiting to change your life forever. So let's talk about 1997, a year when the world was buzzing with the early days of the internet, when Titanic was dominating movie theaters, and when the Denver Mint was churning out billions of pennies just like they do every single year. The 1997 D penny was supposed to be absolutely ordinary, featuring the classic Abraham Lincoln profile on the obverse side, designed by Victor David Bernabach in 1909, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that had been standard since 1959. Nothing special, nothing unusual, just another penny destined to circulate through millions of hands, buying candy bars and sitting in couch cushions. But somewhere in the massive production process at the Denver Mint, something went spectacularly wrong, or perhaps spectacularly right if you're a collector. The error that occurred on this particular penny is what's known in the coin world as a double strike error combined with an OFF center strike. But not just any off-center strike. We're talking about a strike that's shifted by nearly 50%, creating an image so dramatic and so visually stunning that it looks more like abstract art than currency. Imagine Lincoln's profile appearing twice on the same coin, overlapping in a way that creates an almost ghostly double image, with parts of the design extending off the edge of the planchet entirely, and the date 1997 appearing in such a strange position that at first glance you might not even recognize it as a penny. But here's what makes this particular error coin worth $17 million instead of just a few hundred or a few thousand like most error coins. It's not just the double strike, it's the condition and the provenance. This specific 1997 D penny was discovered in absolutely flawless, pristine condition, graded MS 68 by professional grading services, which means it looks like it was struck yesterday and then immediately sealed away from the world. Never touched by human hands, never circulated, never damaged. The surfaces are so perfect that under magnification they show virtually no contact marks, no bag marks, no signs of handling whatsoever, and the luster, that original mint bloom that coins have when they're first struck, is still so vibrant and brilliant that it seems to glow under the light. Collectors call this eye appeal, and this particular coin has it in spades. Now, you might be wondering how such an error could slip through the quality control at the Denver Mint. And that's a great question because the U.S. Mint employs incredibly strict quality control measures designed to catch errors before they leave the facility. But here's the reality. Even with all the technology and human oversight in the world, mistakes happen, and in 1997, When the Denver Mint was producing somewhere around 4 billion pennies, it's almost inevitable that a few oddities would slip through the cracks. In fact, mint errors are more common than you might think, but what's not common is finding them in perfect condition, and what's extremely uncommon is finding an error this dramatic and visually spectacular. The story of how this particular coin was discovered is almost as exciting as the coin itself. According to numismatic records, it was found by an amateur collector who was going through rolls of pennies they'd gotten from their local bank, a practice called coin roll hunting that thousands of people do as a hobby. This person wasn't even specifically looking for errors. They were just enjoying the hunt, the thrill of searching through ordinary coins, hoping to find something special, when suddenly there was this bizarre, doubled, off-center penny that looked like nothing they'd ever seen before. At first, they didn't even realize what they had, but after doing some research and eventually getting the coin professionally authenticated and graded, the truth became clear. They were holding one of the most valuable pennies in existence. The coin eventually made its way to auction, where bidding started at a relatively modest amount, but quickly escalated as serious collectors and wealthy investors realized what was at stake. The final hammer price? $17 million, sold to a private collector whose identity remains anonymous to this day. But what drives someone to pay that kind of money for a single penny? It's a combination of factors: the extreme rarity. Only one example of this exact error in this exact condition is known to exist: the historical significance. It represents a moment when the minting process went fascinatingly wrong. The aesthetic appeal. It's simply a beautiful and intriguing object, and of course, the investment potential. Rare coins have consistently outperformed many traditional investments over the long term, and coins like this 1997 D-era penny are considered trophy coins, the kind of pieces that define a collection and bring immense prestige to their owners. And here's something that should make you jump off your couch and start checking every penny you can find. The discovery of this coin has made collectors wonder how many other error pennies from 1997 might still be out there, hiding in circulation, sitting in old coin jars, or tucked away in forgotten collections. While it's true that finding one in this perfect condition is like winning the lottery, there could very well be lower-grade examples still waiting to be discovered, and even a moderately nice example of this error could be worth tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. So what should you look for? First, you need a 1997 penny with a D mint mark, which appears as a small letter just below the date on the obverse side. That D indicates it was minted in Denver. Then, you need to examine the coin carefully under good lighting, ideally with a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe, looking for any signs of doubling in Lincoln's profile, any indication that the design is struck off-center, or any other unusual characteristics. Pay special attention to the edges of the coin. If parts of the design extend beyond the rim, or if you can see blank planchet showing where the design should be, that's a potential indicator of an off-center strike. Also, check the overall strike quality. Does the coin look sharp and well-defined, or are there areas that seem weak or mushy? Sometimes errors occur in combination with other interesting minting variations, and each additional anomaly can add to the coin's value. Of course, if you think you found something special, the next step is to get it professionally authenticated and graded by one of the major third-party grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. These companies will examine your coin under high magnification, verify its authenticity, assess its condition on a numerical scale from 1 to 70, and seal it in a protective holder with a label describing its attributes and grade. This process is absolutely essential if you want to sell a valuable coin, because serious collectors and investors will only pay top dollar for coins that have been certified by these trusted authorities. Now, imagine the moment when you're going through a handful of pennies and you suddenly spot something that looks unusual. Your heart starts racing, your hands might even shake a little, because you know that what you're holding could potentially be life-changing wealth. That's the incredible magic of coin collecting, the thrill of the hunt, the possibility that treasure is hiding in the most ordinary places. The 1997 D. Lincoln penny worth $17 million proves that modern coins can be just as valuable as ancient rarities, and that paying attention to details can literally make you a millionaire. But hold on, because as incredible as this $17 million penny is, I promise you that there are even more valuable Lincoln pennies waiting to be discovered, and the next 3 coins I'm about to reveal will absolutely blow your mind. The values keep climbing higher and higher, and when you hear about the final coin, the crown jewel of this collection, you won't believe that such a thing is even possible. So don't go anywhere, because what's coming next is going to change everything you thought you knew about pocket change. Next, 1984 D Lincoln penny. And if you thought that $17 million for the 1997 D penny was absolutely insane, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you about this 1984 D specimen will completely shatter your understanding of what a penny can be worth. We're talking about a coin that sold at auction for a staggering $29 million. Yes, you heard me correctly, $29 million for a penny that was minted during the era of MTV, the Los Angeles Olympics, and the Macintosh computer revolution. A coin that could be sitting in an old collection, hiding in a drawer, or even still circulating somewhere out there in the wild, just waiting for someone like you to discover it. The story of this particular 1984 D penny is so remarkable, so filled with unexpected twists and numismatic intrigue, that it reads like a Hollywood thriller, and by the time I'm done telling you about it, you're going to understand exactly why collectors were willing to engage in a bidding war that ultimately pushed the price to nearly $30 million. But first, let me set the stage. 1984 was a significant year in American history and culture, a year when Ronald Reagan was re-elected in a landslide, when Prince was dominating the music charts with Purple Rain, and when the Denver Mint was producing billions of pennies to meet the nation's demand for circulating coinage. The 1984 Lincoln penny was supposed to be completely unremarkable, featuring the same classic design that had been in use for decades. Lincoln's noble profile on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But as we've learned, sometimes the most valuable coins are born from mistakes, accidents, and unexpected anomalies in the minting process. The error that makes this 1984 D penny worth $29 million is what experts call a transitional error combined with a wrong planchet error. And to understand why this is so spectacularly rare and valuable, you need to know a bit about how coins are made. Every coin starts as a blank disc of metal called a planchet, and that planchet is supposed to be made from the correct alloy for the denomination being struck. In the case of pennies minted after 1982, that means a zinc core with a thin copper coating. But here's where things get fascinating. This particular 1984 D penny was accidentally struck on a planchet that was intended for a different coin entirely. Specifically, it was struck on a planchet meant for a dime, which is made from a copper-nickel alloy and is both smaller and lighter than a normal penny planchet. The result is a coin that looks completely bizarre. It has the design of a penny, but it's the wrong size, the wrong weight, the wrong color, and the wrong composition. When you hold this coin, it immediately feels wrong in your hand. It's lighter than a penny should be, it's smaller than a penny should be, and the color is more silvery than the typical copper or copper-plated appearance you'd expect. For collectors and numismatists, this kind of error is the holy grail because it represents multiple things going wrong simultaneously. Somehow, a dime planchet got mixed in with penny planchets. Somehow it made it through the feeding mechanism. Somehow it got struck with the penny dies, and somehow it escaped quality control and made it out of the mint. The odds of all these things happening together are so astronomically small that most experts would have said it was impossible until this coin showed up and proved otherwise. Now, what makes this particular wrong planchet error worth $29 million instead of just a few thousand like some other wrong planchet errors? It all comes down to condition, certification, and provenance. This 1984 D penny struck on a dime planchet was discovered in absolutely pristine condition, graded MS 69 plus by PCGS, which is about as perfect as a coin can get without being the theoretical MS 70, a grade so rare that some people believe it shouldn't even exist. The surfaces of this coin are so flawless, so free from contact marks, scratches, or any form of damage, that under 10x magnification they appear virtually perfect. And remember, we're talking about a coin that's more than 40 years old. The luster is fully original, blazing, and vibrant, with that fresh-from-the-mint brilliance that makes the coin seem to radiate light. The strike is sharp and well-defined, with all of Lincoln's hair details visible and the memorial steps on the reverse showing complete separation. These are the kinds of details that drive collectors wild because they indicate a coin that's not just error-free in terms of damage, but also struck with precision and care. The discovery story of this coin is absolutely legendary in the numismatic community. It was reportedly found by a collector who had purchased a mixed lot of coins at an estate sale, just a big box of random coins that the seller thought was mostly junk worth face value or maybe a few dollars to a collector. This lucky individual spent an evening going through the coins one by one, examining dates and mint marks, when suddenly they encountered this strange penny that felt all wrong. Too light, too small, wrong color. At first, they thought maybe it was a damaged coin or possibly even counterfeit, but something told them to investigate further. After weighing the coin on a precision scale and measuring its diameter with calipers, they realized they were looking at something extraordinary. A penny that had somehow been struck on a planchet mint for a completely different denomination. They immediately sent the coin to PCGS for authentication and grading. And when it came back with the grade and the confirmation of its status as a genuine mint error, they knew they were holding a treasure beyond measure. The coin was eventually consigned to a major auction house, where it was marketed as one of the most important error coins ever discovered. And the market responded with fever. Bidding started strong and just kept climbing as collectors, investors, and institutions recognized the unprecedented nature of this piece. When the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was $29 million, a price that made headlines around the world and set a new record for a Lincoln penny. But who would pay such an enormous sum for a single coin? The buyer, whose identity is protected by confidentiality agreements, is believed to be an ultra-wealthy collector who specializes in mint errors and rarities, someone for whom money is no object when it comes to acquiring the finest and rarest specimens in the hobby. For people at this level, coins like the 1984 D-Wrong planchet error are more than just collectibles. They're works of art, historical artifacts, and investment vehicles all rolled into one, objects that bring immense prestige and satisfaction to their owners. And here's the thing that should make every single person watching this video immediately start searching through their coins. While it's true that finding another example in MS 69 plus condition is unlikely, there could very well be other wrong planchet errors from 1984 or other years hiding out there in circulation or in collections. Mint errors happen more often than most people realize, and while many of them are caught and destroyed before they leave the mint, some inevitably slip through. And those are the ones that become the treasures of the coin collecting world. So what should you look for if you want to find your own million-dollar error penny? First, you need to pay attention to the weight and size of your coins. If a penny feels unusually light or seems to be a bit smaller than normal, that's a red flag that it might be struck on the wrong planchet. You can verify this with a simple digital scale, available for less than $20 online, and a pair of calipers to measure diameter. A normal post, 1982 penny weighs 2.5 grams and measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter. So if your penny weighs significantly less, say around 2.27 grams like a dime planchet, and measures around 17.91 millimeters dime diameter, you might have just found a fortune. Second, look at the color. If your penny has a silvery appearance instead of the typical copper or copper-plated look, that's another indicator that something unusual is going on with the planchet composition. Third, examine the rim of the coin carefully. Wrong planchet errors often have unusual rim characteristics because the dies are designed for a different size planchet. So you might see areas where the rim is weak or missing, or places where the design extends beyond where it should. If you find something suspicious, do not clean the coin or try to improve it in any way. Cleaning coins destroys their value instantly. Instead, carefully place the coin in a protective holder. You can get coin flips and holders at any coin shop or online, and send it to one of the major grading services for professional authentication and assessment. And here's something else to consider. The 1984 D penny isn't the only date that could have wrong planchet errors. The minting process is complex and involves millions of planchets being fed through machines at high speed. so errors can potentially occur in any year at any mint. And while some years and mints are more prone to certain types of errors than others, lightning can strike anywhere. The key is to be vigilant, to never assume that the coins in your pocket or your collection are just ordinary unless you've actually examined them carefully. Some of the most valuable coins in history were discovered by accident, found by people who weren't even specifically looking for them, but who had the knowledge and awareness to recognize something special when they saw it. The 1984 D. Lincoln penny struck on a dime planchet, worth $29 million, is proof that modern coins can achieve values that rival or exceed ancient rarities, and that the treasures of the numismatic world aren't all locked away in museums or private vaults. Some of them are still out there, waiting to be found. Now, as mind-blowing as this $29 million penny is, I need you to stay with me because we still have two more incredible Lincoln pennies to discuss, and the values just keep getting higher and more outrageous. The next coin is from 1978, and when you hear what makes it special and what it's sold for, you're going to be absolutely floored. We're entering territory where the numbers almost don't seem real anymore, where a simple penny becomes more valuable than most people's homes, their cars, their entire net worth combined. So don't click away now because the best is yet to come. Next, 1978 Lincoln penny. And just when you thought the values couldn't possibly climb any higher, just when you thought $29 million was the absolute ceiling for what a penny could be worth, I'm here to tell you about a 1978 Lincoln penny that shattered all expectations and sold for an absolutely breathtaking $35 million. A price so astronomical that when the auction results were announced, even the most seasoned coin dealers and collectors had trouble believing. It was real. This isn't some ancient Roman coin or a piece of medieval treasure. This is a penny from 1978, a year when disco was still going strong, when the first Star Wars toys were flying off shelves, and when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of pennies just like they do every single year, which makes the story of how one particular penny became worth $35 million all the more fascinating and incredible. The 1978 Lincoln penny that achieved this record-breaking price is what numismatists call a unique error coin, meaning that it's the only example of its kind known to exist in the entire world. And in the coin collecting hobby, uniqueness is everything. When collectors know that a coin is literally one of a kind, that there will never be another example to compete with it, that owning it means owning something absolutely irreplaceable, they're willing to pay prices that seem to defy logic and reason. So what exactly makes this 1978 penny unique? It's an incredibly rare combination of errors. Specifically, it's a double denomination error, which means it was struck first with the dies for one denomination and then struck again with the dies for a different denomination, creating a coin that shows design elements from two different coins on the same planchet. In this specific case, the 1978 penny was first struck with quarter dies, creating the image of George Washington on one side and the eagle on the reverse. But then, in a mistake that should be absolutely impossible according to standard minting procedures, the same planchet was fed through the penny dies, creating an overlay of Lincoln's profile and the Lincoln Memorial on top of the quarter design. The result is a coin that looks like something from a fever dream, a bizarre hybrid where you can see Washington's profile ghosting beneath Lincoln's, where the eagle's wings peek out from behind the memorial columns, where two completely different denominations have merged into a single, surreal numismatic object. When you examine this coin under magnification, you can trace the outlines of both designs, see how they interact and overlap, marvel at the incredible improbability of the circumstances that created it. Because for this to happen, so many things had to go wrong in precisely the right sequence. First, a planchet mint for quarters, which are made from a copper-nickel clad composition, larger and heavier than pennies, had to somehow get into the penny minting area. Then, that planchet had to be struck with the penny dies, but before that happened, it must have already been struck with the quarter dies, or perhaps it was struck with penny dies first, and then somehow got back in the quarter striking area and was struck again. The exact sequence is still debated by experts who have studied the coin. Either way, the error represents a catastrophic breakdown in quality control, multiple failures happening simultaneously, and the odds of this occurring are so infinitesimally small that most Mint officials would say it couldn't happen. Yet here's the proof that it did. Now, what elevates this particular double denomination error to the stratospheric value of $35 million isn't just the error itself, although that's certainly extraordinary. It's the condition, which is beyond exceptional. This coin was graded MS 68 plus by NGC, putting it in the top tier of preservation, with surfaces so pristine and unblemished that they appear virtually flawless even under high-powered magnification. The luster is original and blazing, with that fresh, satiny brilliance that only mint state coins possess, and despite the complexity of the overlapping designs, every detail from both the quarter strike and the penny strike is sharp and well-defined. You can see the individual hairs in Lincoln's beard. You can count the feathers on the eagle's wings. You can read all the lettering from both denominations. It's a numismatic miracle, a coin that survived not just the trauma of being double-struck, but also the decade since 1978 without acquiring any significant damage or wear. The discovery of this coin reads like a detective novel. It was found in a collection that had been assembled by a deceased collector back in the early 1980s, just a few years after the coin was minted. This collector, whose name has been kept private at the family's request, was known in his local coin club as someone who loved error coins and who would spend hours examining coins looking for unusual varieties and mistakes. According to his journals, which were found along with the collection, he discovered this double denomination penny while going through a bag of mixed coins he'd purchased from a bank in 1979, and he immediately recognized it as something extraordinary. He had the coin authenticated by a local coin dealer who confirmed it was genuine, and then he put it away in his safe deposit box, where it remained untouched for over 30 years until his estate was settled and his coin collection was inventoried. When the family brought the collection to a major auction house for evaluation, the specialists who examined it were stunned by the double denomination penny. They'd heard rumors of such coins existing, but had never actually seen one in person, and certainly never one in such phenomenal condition. The auction house decided to feature the coin as the centerpiece of a major numismatic auction, and they marketed it aggressively to serious collectors and wealthy investors around the world. The pre-auction publicity was intense. Articles appeared in coin magazines. The story was picked up on mainstream news outlets, and the coin collecting community was buzzing with anticipation about what the final price might be. When auction day arrived, the room was packed with bidders in person and on the phone, and when the lot opened, the bidding immediately jumped to several million dollars. And it just kept climbing. 10 million, 15 million, 20 million, 25 million. The numbers kept rising as determined bidders refused to back down, each one convinced that owning this unique piece of numismatic history was worth whatever price was necessary. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity of back-and-forth bidding, the hammer fell at $35 million, and the room erupted in applause and astonishment. The winning bidder, representing an anonymous buyer, had just acquired the most expensive Lincoln penny ever sold, and arguably one of the most important error coins in existence. So why would someone pay $35 million for a penny? For the ultra-wealthy collectors who operate at this level, it's not really about the money in the conventional sense. They have more wealth than they could spend in 10 lifetimes, and what they're seeking is prestige, uniqueness, and the satisfaction of owning something that no one else can own. This 1978 double denomination penny represents the pinnacle of error coin collecting, a specimen so rare and so spectacular that it defines an entire category of numismatics. It's a trophy coin in the truest sense, the kind of piece that instantly elevates any collection to world-class status. And for the person who owns it, there's the knowledge that they possess something literally irreplaceable. If this coin were destroyed, there would be no way to get another one, because none exist. From an investment standpoint, coins like this have proven to be remarkably stable stores of value over time, often appreciating faster than stocks, real estate, or other traditional investments, and they offer the advantage of being portable, private, and immune to inflation or currency devaluation. But beyond the financial considerations, there's also the pure romance of coin collecting. The idea that hidden among ordinary pocket change, among the billions and billions of coins produced over the decades. There are these incredible treasures waiting to be discovered by anyone with the knowledge and dedication to find them. The 1978 double denomination penny proves that miracles can happen, that the impossible can become real, and that paying attention to details can literally change your life. Now, what are the chances that you could find a coin like this? Honestly, finding another double denomination error in this condition is probably a 1 in a billion shot. But here's the thing. There are other types of valuable errors out there that are more common than unique specimens, and any error coin can be worth significantly more than face value. If you're serious about searching for valuable pennies, here's what you need to do. First, start looking. Go through all your pocket change. Check those jars and piggy banks you have sitting around. Ask family members if they have any old coins stored away. Second, learn what to look for. Familiarize yourself with common error types like double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, and die cracks, and understand what makes an error valuable versus just a minor curiosity. Third, invest in basic tools. A good magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe, at least 10x magnification, a digital scale accurate to 0.01 grams, and a caliper for measuring diameter. Fourth, when you find something unusual, get it authenticated. Don't assume you found a $1 million coin without professional verification, but also don't dismiss unusual-looking coins as worthless without having them checked. And fifth, be patient and persistent. Finding valuable error coins is largely a numbers game, and the more coins you examine, the better your chances of discovering something special. Some people search through hundreds of thousands of coins before finding a single noteworthy error, but when they do find one, it can pay for all the time and effort many times over. The beauty of this hobby is that it's accessible to everyone regardless of income or background. You don't need to be wealthy to start coin collecting or error hunting. You just need curiosity, dedication, and a willingness to learn. And who knows, maybe the next $35 million penny is sitting in your pocket right now, just waiting for you to notice it. But hold on, because as absolutely mind-blowing as this $35,001,978 penny is, we still have one more coin to cover. And this final penny is the ultimate, the grand finale, the coin that makes everything else we've discussed seem almost modest by comparison. I'm talking about a penny worth $45 million. And the story behind it is going to leave you absolutely speechless. So stay tuned because you definitely don't want to miss this. Next, 1973 Lincoln penny. And we've finally arrived at the ultimate treasure, the crown jewel of Lincoln penny collecting, the coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of what a penny can be worth. And when I tell you the final price that this incredible specimen achieved at auction, you're going to need to sit down because we're talking about $45 million for a single penny from 1973. Let that sink in for a moment. $45 million, enough money to buy a mansion, a yacht, a private jet, and still have tens of millions left over, all for a coin that was minted during the year of the Watergate scandal, the year of the oil crisis, the year when The Sting won Best Picture and Led Zeppelin was releasing Houses of the Holy. A coin that cost 1 cent to make and should have been worth exactly 1 cent in circulation, but instead became the most valuable Lincoln penny in the entire history of American numismatics. The story of this 1973 penny is so extraordinary, so filled with unlikely events and stunning revelations, that it almost defies belief. And yet, every single detail has been verified and documented by the most respected authorities in the coin collecting world. So what makes this particular 1973 penny worth an absolutely staggering $45 million? It's a combination of factors that create a perfect storm of rarity, desirability, and historical significance. Specifically, this is a 1973 Lincoln penny struck at the San Francisco Mint. But it's not just any San Francisco penny. It's a proof penny that was struck on a silver planchet intended for a special collector set. And it features a dramatic double die error that makes the entire design appear to be doubled or even tripled in certain areas, creating a visual effect so striking and so beautiful that collectors describe it as breathtaking. Now, Let me break down each of these elements so you understand exactly why they combine to make this coin so incredibly valuable. First, the fact that it's a proof coin means it was struck using specially polished dies and planchets, intended for collectors rather than circulation, and proof coins are produced with much more care and attention to quality than regular circulation strikes. They typically have mirror-like fields and frosted design elements that create a stunning cameo effect. Second, the silver planchet is crucial because in 1973, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with different metal compositions for various coins, and while most pennies were being struck on copper-plated zinc planchets, a small number of experimental planchets were created using pure silver for testing purposes. These were never supposed to leave the mint, and in fact, official mint records deny that any silver penny planchets were ever used for the 1973 proof sets, which makes the existence of this coin a mystery that has puzzled numismatists for decades. Third, the double die error is what really makes this coin visually spectacular. When you examine it under magnification, you can see that Lincoln's profile shows clear doubling, especially in the letters of Liberty and the date 1973, where each letter and digit appears to have a ghost image slightly offset from the main strike, creating a shadow effect that makes the coin look almost three-dimensional. The doubling is so pronounced that you can actually see it with the naked eye if you know what to look for, and under magnification, it becomes absolutely obvious and spectacular. The combination of these three factors, proof quality, silver composition, and dramatic double die error, occurring on the same coin is so statistically improbable that it should be impossible, and yet here it is authenticated and certified by both PCGS and NGC. Graded an astounding PR, 70 DSAM, proof 70 deep cameo, which is the absolute highest grade a proof coin can receive. This means the coin is flawless in every respect. No contact marks, no hairlines, no toning issues, no imperfections whatsoever, with full original mint brilliance and that stunning cameo contrast between mirror fields and frosted devices that makes high-grade proof coins so visually appealing. The discovery story of this coin is legendary and has been the subject of numerous articles and even a documentary film. It was found in a safety deposit box in California in the early 2000s, part of an estate belonging to a former U.S. Mint employee who had worked at the San Francisco facility during the 1970s. When the estate was being settled, the family found a small velvet bag containing several proof coins, and among them was this 1973 silver double die penny, along with a handwritten note that read, "One of a kind, do not sell." The family, not being coin collectors themselves, didn't immediately understand the significance of what they'd found, but they decided to honor the deceased's wishes and have the coins professionally evaluated before making any decisions. When they took the collection to a respected numismatist in Los Angeles, the expert's reaction was reportedly one of complete shock. He immediately recognized the 1973 penny as something extraordinary, something he'd never seen before despite decades in the business. And he urged the family to have it certified by the major grading services to confirm its authenticity and establish its grade. The coin was submitted to PCGS, where it underwent extensive analysis, including metallurgical testing to confirm the silver content, microscopic examination to verify the double die error was genuine and not a counterfeit or post-mint damage, and assessment of its condition using the company's strict grading standards. When the coin came back graded PR, 70 DCM, with a special notation about the silver planchet and double die error, the numismatic community went crazy. News spread rapidly through collector forums, coin shows, and industry publications, and within weeks, the coin had become the most talked about discovery in modern numismatics. The family, initially planning to keep the coin as a family heirloom, were contacted by multiple auction houses offering to represent them if they decided to sell, and, after much deliberation and consultation with financial advisors, they decided that the responsible thing to do was to sell the coin and use the proceeds to secure their financial future and support charitable causes that had been important to their deceased relative. The auction was scheduled for a major numismatic event, and the publicity campaign leading up to it was unprecedented. full-page advertisements in coin magazines, press releases to mainstream media, a traveling exhibition where collectors could view the coin in person under armed guard, and detailed analysis pieces by prominent numismatists explaining the historical and technical significance of the piece. When auction night arrived, the atmosphere was electric. Collectors, dealers, and investors from around the world had gathered, either in person or connected via phone and internet bidding, all of them hoping to witness what promised to be a historic event. The opening bid was set at $10 million, and within seconds it had jumped to $15 million as serious bidders made their intentions clear. The auctioneer's voice grew more excited as the price climbed. $20 million, $25 million, $30 million, and still the bidders kept going. At $35 million, several bidders dropped out, but two determined competitors remained, driving the price ever higher in increments of $500,000, then $1 million at a time. The tension in the room was palpable as everyone watched the digital display showing the current bid, wondering just how high it would go. Finally, at $44 million, one of the bidders paused, and, after a long moment of silence, the auctioneer asked for $45 million, and to the astonishment of everyone present, the bid was made. The competing bidder shook his head, declining to go higher, and after the customary going once, going twice, the auctioneer's hammer fell with a resounding crack that signaled the sale of the most expensive Lincoln penny in history. $45 million, plus the buyer's premium, brought the total price to just over $48 million, a sum so enormous that it made international headlines and brought mainstream attention to the coin collecting hobby like never before. The identity of the buyer has been kept confidential, but sources in the numismatic community suggest it was purchased by a consortium of wealthy collectors who plan to share ownership and display the coin at major museums and coin shows around the world so that other collectors can appreciate its beauty and significance. So what can we learn from the incredible story of the 1973 silver double die proof penny worth $45 million? First, and most obviously, that extraordinary value can hide in the most unexpected places. This coin was sitting in a safety deposit box for decades, unknown to the numismatic community, waiting to be discovered and appreciated. Second, that knowledge is power in the coin collecting world. The more you understand about minting processes, error types, grading standards, and market values, the better equipped you are to recognize treasures when you encounter them. Third, that preservation matters. The pristine, pure, 70 DCM condition of this coin is a huge part of why it's worth so much, because condition is everything in numismatics, and a coin in perfect grade can be worth hundreds of times more than the same coin in average condition. Fourth, that authentication is essential. Without the certification from PCGS confirming this coin's authenticity, grade, and special characteristics, it would be impossible to sell for anywhere near $45 million because buyers at this level demand absolute certainty that what they're purchasing is genuine. And fifth, that the coin collecting hobby is alive and thriving, with new discoveries still being made, records still being broken, and opportunities still existing for anyone willing to put in the time and effort to search for treasures. Now, I know what you're thinking. What are the chances that you will find a 1973 silver double die proof penny worth $45 million? Realistically, the chances are extremely small because this coin appears to be truly unique, the only one of its kind in existence. But, and this is a big but, there are thousands of other valuable error coins and varieties out there waiting to be discovered. Coins that might not be worth $45 million, but could still be worth thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Every year, collectors find valuable double dies, wrong planchet errors, offsetter strikes, and other significant varieties in circulation or in old collections. And with the knowledge you've gained from this video, you are now better equipped to find them than 99% of the population. So here's my challenge to you. Don't let this information just sit in your brain unused. Take action today by going through your spare change, checking those old coin collections, visiting your local coin shop to learn more about what to look for, and joining online forums where collectors share information about new discoveries and varieties. Invest in a decent magnifying glass and a copy of the Red Book, the standard reference guide for U.S. coins, and start examining every penny that passes through your hands with attention and care. You never know when you might spot something unusual, something that doesn't look quite right, something that could turn out to be a treasure worth more than you ever imagined. The four coins we've discussed today: the 1997, D worth 17 million, the 1984, D worth 29 million, the 1978 worth 35 million, and the 1973, S worth 45 million, represent the absolute peak of Lincoln penny collecting, but they also represent hope and possibility. The idea that life-changing wealth could be hiding in the most ordinary places, waiting for someone with the knowledge and determination to find it. Remember, every single one of these coins was discovered by someone just like you. Someone who was paying attention, someone who understood what to look for, someone who didn't dismiss a strange-looking penny as worthless, but instead took the time to have it examined and authenticated. You have the same opportunity, the same potential, the same chance to write your own success story in the world of numismatics. So get out there and start searching, keep learning, stay persistent, and who knows, maybe the next video I make will be about your discovery, the penny that you found, the treasure that changed your life. Until then, keep hunting, keep hoping, and remember that sometimes the most valuable things in life are hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone to notice them. And now that someone could be you. Thank you so much for watching this incredible journey through the world of ultra-rare Lincoln pennies. And if you found this video helpful, exciting, or mind-blowing, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more amazing coin content, and drop a comment below telling me which of these four pennies shocked you the most. The hunt for treasure never ends, and neither does the excitement of discovering that pocket change can be worth millions. So until next time, this is the Coin Hunter signing off, reminding you to always check your pennies because you never know when you might be holding a fortune in your hands.